Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. If you have pale skin, you may have heard a lot of things like you look sick, you're translucent, you look like a ghost, which is whatever. Maybe as you've gotten older, you've struggled to embrace having fair, pale skin, and maybe makeup is making it even worse for you too, feeling like things just don't look good on you. Trust me, I know, story of my life. Literally why I love making these videos. So these are my favorite products for pale skin to help you embrace and love your own skin essentially. These products just work so well for me and make me feel so pretty. So I wanted to share my favorites along with tips and tricks. So let's get started. First, I really wanted to talk about glowy products because they can make your skin look so pretty and glowy and healthy looking, but it's also one of those categories where they are orange really quickly or heavy looking or just like too bronzy, right? I feel like there's so many bronzing products, but on me, it's just gonna look orange. So these are my favorite fair skin friendly ones. First is a really great drugstore option from CoverGirl. It's the Trublend Skin Enhancer. I feel like this is a hidden gem at the drugstore. It's the Jelly Opal Glow. It has 2% squalene. This is a very thin, like water-based glowy product. It is very glowy, be aware of that. This I would probably only put on the high points of the face unless you don't really have a ton of texture and you feel like you can handle it everywhere. But what I love is that it has this very cool tone shimmer. It does not cast dark at all, and it just makes your skin look so glowy and pretty. And for the price, it feels truly like a high-end product. So if you're looking for that glowy base product, such a gem. I also always say that this CoverGirl option is a dupe for this higher end one, which is from SAIE Beauty, but they're unique in their own ways, which I will go into. This is the SAIE Glowy Super Gel. Ever since this came out, it has been a staple. I've repurchased this many times. I don't repurchase a ton of makeup because I'm always trying new things, but this is definitely a repurchase for me. I love that it comes in a pump. This is the lighter shade called Star Glow. So this is also a very thin, like water-based type of illuminator. Compared to the CoverGirl one, it's just a little bit more natural looking on the skin. It doesn't have quite as much of that pearl. So this is one that you can wear all over your face, and I don't feel like it accentuates texture. Truly one of the prettiest glowy base products on the market that does not add any weight to your makeup. It's such a good creation from SAIE. I have loved this product forever and will continue loving it, so I always like to recommend this one. And then I also had to give a shout out to the TYPOLOGY. These are their vitamin C glow drops. These look quite dark, and also online they look a little bit dark, but I don't find that these cast dark on my skin because you sort of add them into a moisturizer. They kind of just look like this on their own. You can use them on your own, but I like to mix it in with a moisturizer, and it just adds like the prettiest glow in such a reflective way. This does have those good added skincare benefits. If you're looking for something a little more skincare-esque, I feel like this one is so good and would last you forever if you're only mixing it in. It's another one of those amazing products that I think is also a hidden gem. I don't hear a ton of people talking about these, and I really like them. Also 98% naturally derived. Next, maybe a truth that you don't want to hear, but if you want to start embracing your pale skin more, you need to make sure you're wearing a foundation that actually matches your skin. When I stopped self-tanning, I had to like get all new foundations because all of mine were so orange. Even then, like you really struggle to match yourself dealing with like, it's your original skin tone, but if you self-tan for a while, you get used to just finding foundations pretty easily. So I want to mention my favorites that come in very fair shades and some of my favorite shades in case you are a similar skin tone to me. First off, of course, the About Face foundation. Absolute favorite foundation formula. I have it on now. I use the shade F1 Neutral, which is a really great pale neutral option. They have a cool toned version of this. They have the olive tone as well, which I use. That one's a little bit dark for me, so I mix it in with this, but it's a very fair foundation, and it's like similar to drugstore price foundations, right? Because drugstore foundations can be up there. Spending like a little bit more and just get this foundation, it's amazing. Trust me, it is so lightweight and beautiful and natural on the skin. Perfect everyday formula, and I really enjoy the shades that they have in this. Next is Truly an Impressive Feat, which is a foundation that is too light for me, so I do need to get a darker shade of this. but I love this formula. This is the MAC Studio Radiance Serum Powered Foundation. This doesn't have SPF in it like the regular Studio Fix does. It's glowy, it's pretty, it's like a medium lighter coverage. The shade NC5 is a very, very fair, like neutral, warmer shade that if you have very fair skin but you feel like all the fair shades are too cool, this is such a good one to check out. I love that it comes in a pump. Beautiful formula from MAC. While we're talking about MAC, I also do want to mention their Studio Fix foundation, another one that comes in a really great shade. This is just like their classic NC10 shade in the Studio Plus foundation. I find like this is a really good match. I'll probably get NC10 in this Studio Fix Glow version. This is a really great powder foundation. I'm not someone who wears these on their own, so I can't really testify to like how it performs just on its own, but as a layering powder foundation, I think it is really great. It's super smooth, just has this nice perfecting finish, and this fair shade really good. It doesn't pull too pink or peach, which I have a lot of problems with like foundations pulling that way, or if they are yellow, they're too yellow. This one is really great in between that just matches so well. Another foundation that is very great for having a very fair shade. Again, one that's too light for me, but I always take that with a thumbs up, meaning I could get the next shade. I just usually always get the lightest shade because I'm so used to foundations being too dark. But this is the Axology Fungdation Mushroom with Reishi, foundation with reishi mushrooms. I just tried this in a recent video. I did say I was going to give a wear update and I forgot, so I wanted to talk about the wear really quickly. This is a very creamy emollient foundation. I would say only normal to dry skin you'd like this. It did move around a little bit around my chin, but everywhere else it looks really fresh and healthy, and like for these kinds of waxy foundations I feel like it wore very well. This is the lightest shade 1, which just is a little bit too cool tone for me, but I was really impressed that they did such a great fair shade, and it's really creamy. I would say warm it up with your hands for sure. Let me do a little swatchy swatch here. If you just have mature skin or dry skin, or you like very creamy glowy foundations, this is such a fun little guy. Fun guy. Get it? Moving on to color correctors, I think they can be so helpful for embracing pale skin, because one of the things that happens to us is that if we have any sort of discoloration or redness, dark circles, because our skin is literally translucent, that we're not going to, like, it shows very, very easily, so it can be very obvious, especially when we're so light. It just gives a blank canvas for those colors to pop, literally. So these are my favorite color correctors that can allow you to use less makeup, or maybe if you don't want to wear makeup and just wear like these correctors, which is still makeup, but you know what I'm saying. I want to mention them. First, the CoverGirl color correcting serum in this green shade is perfect if you have any kind of redness. It's more of a yellowy green, it's not super minty, so it's just nice if you feel like maybe the greens pull a little bit weird on you. And this one just, it's very like mellow in the pigmentation, right? So it gives you a nice even base. It's moisturizing. Definitely don't have to put foundation over this because it is so natural looking. So that's a really great pro of this. I like that it's drugstore. The pump is nice. Feels like a high-end product for sure. If you struggle with dark under eyes, there's 2 products here that I really like. First is the PIXI Peach Corrector. You may have heard me talk about this before. I use it all the time. This is the brightening peach shade, which kind of seems like it would be too dark, but I just find this is such a nice, like, it's a sticky, firm formula, which is what I really like about it for the under eyes, because it doesn't crease and it creates this really smooth base. And it looks a little bit dark, but when you just use a little bit, it really does help cancel out redness. Little hidden gem that you can find at Target. If you saw that one and you're like, still gonna be too dark for me, then I would recommend the BOBBI Brown Under Eye Corrector. This is the Skin Corrector Stick in Extra Light Bisque, which is this very, very fair, slightly peachy tone that is actually brightening on the under eyes. This one has a bit of like a pink tone to it almost. You can see there's like a big color difference here, right? So if you're like, that's gonna be too dark, this one is very brightening. It's very creamy though, so maybe if you have huge problems with creasing, not necessarily the best formula, but I feel like that's not a huge issue for you, or you just want something that is more emollient, you like more creamy concealers, I think this is a really good one to check out. And then another great one for redness is the Ulta Beauty Collection Color Correcting Concealer, and this one is the shade green. Compared to the CoverGirl one, you can tell it's a much mintier green, sort of matches my background, almost blue green. So this is something you definitely have to use in moderation and wear makeup over, because it it can be very, very strong, but because it is such a strong blue-green, maybe if you have more cool tones in your skin, this would be a really great one, whereas the CoverGirl would be like neutral to warmer tones. But this one, a little bit over the blemish, like it's really going to cancel out all that redness. I like the dofa. This is another more affordable product that feels very high-end. Next one is a very important one, which is stop wearing bronzers or contours that are too warm for you. That's always been like a makeup killer for me, is if I have on something that just pulls really unnatural on me, it makes me be like, ugh, my skin doesn't look good. But it's really not my skin's fault. It's like the product's fault because it's so freaking warm. There's so many orange bronzers out there. I have a full video on non-orange bronzers, so I'm not going to get super in depth. I just want to mention my favorite RMS Beauty one, of course. Beachwalk Betty is my favorite. It's more of like a neutral rosy bronzer. Love the glow. You've probably heard me talk about it, so I'm going to go ahead and move on, but I will also link that bronzer video below if you want my full range of non-orange bronzers from drugstore to high-end to all different finishes. Check it out below. So besides bronzers, finding a true cool tone contour is so helpful, and these are some of my favorites. I just remembered I forgot to grab the Made by Mitchell, the cream palette. If you have fair olive skin, I did a separate video on it, but those have very, very fair, cool, greenish contours if that's something more that you're looking for. But these are more of my like true cool tones. I want to talk about the E.L.F Halo Glow Beauty Wand. Love an affordable option. This is one of my favorite contours ever. I can't believe it's so affordable. In the shade Fair, it's just the perfect cool tone contour that isn't too gray. Like it still has a very, very natural vibe to it. It's like almost empty. What I love about this formula is that it is more sheer. So when you blend it out, more sheer contours do mimic a shadow more, because a shadow on your face isn't going to be fully pigmented, right? Unless it's very harsh lighting. So this just looks a lot more natural and is a lot easier to work with if you have pale skin. So the tone, hopefully you can tell, does have that nice coolness. It never looks too orange, but it still has that, you know, shadow-esque vibe. Such a good one. Next, while we're talking about the E.L.F contour, I want to mention the sort of duo, which is the more pigmented sister to the wand, which is their bronzer and contour. They had the shade Fair. The next one up is more of a bronzer. This one is more of a cool neutral product. This one has a lot more pigment to it, so if you're like a contour newbie, maybe not the best one because it's more pigmented, but it has a very beautiful tone to it, a little bit more creamy. The wand feels a little bit more lightweight, where the camo contour just has a little bit more, like slightly thicker, but you can tell it almost has like more of a neutral grayish tone. This one has like a hint of green. Whenever I swatch them side by side, it makes me realize that the contour wand does have a hint of like green to it, which I really enjoy. This is another great option if you want something more pigmented and creamy. Next, if you're more of a powder contour person, the Sephora contour in Fair to Light. This is a very cool toned grayish contour. You remember the NYX, what is it, the So Taupe blush? That was like an OG cool tone sort of contour hack. This sort of reminds me of that, but way more wearable because it is more of a sheer formula, which I really like, especially when it's so cool toned like this. But it has a very, very gray, very cool undertone. If you feel like you've tried a lot of contours that are cool toned and they still pull warm on you, this might be a good one to try out. I do have this on today, and I just like applying it with a small like Real Techniques brush. I love the sheerness. It's so workable. It never looks unnatural, and it gives you that very true cool shadow effect. I did forget to mention this category earlier, but also such a good tip. One of my favorites. Powders that do not deepen your makeup or change the tone of them too much is so helpful in making your base makeup come together and look very natural and make you feel very confident. Two favorites here. First, the FLORASIS loose powders. They have many different tinted shades of these, and I've tried all of them, and none of them pull too dark, or like I've tried some pink powders that just look so crazy on me, or yellow powders that are too strong. I really love this peach one for under the eyes. I have this one on today, and then I use the green version for all over the face. Also, this formula is so luxurious. It's mattifying and smoothing, but never drying. It has some very like cool ingredients like silk powder, I believe. It just it's out of this world good. I tried this and it immediately became my favorite powder. So did I mention the name of this? They're the FLORASIS loose powders. This one's the peach blossom one. So you do get a beautiful little puff in there. Love the packaging as well. And then you pop it open and have the powder there. It's fine, it's silky, it does such a good job. And then I also wanted to give a shout out to this one in case you don't want something that's tinted. Although FLORASIS also makes a pressed powder that's not tinted, that's really great as well. But the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil Pressed. Now the loose mineral veil definitely has a pretty strong peachy tone that can be a little bit dark. This is a truly translucent powder because if it looks white, it means it's going to be translucent on the skin. This is a very smooth, slightly thicker powder. So if you have more dry skin or if things look a little bit more powdery, you might like this formula a bit more. For my skin type, I like the FLORASIS one because I get a little bit more oily. But if my skin is more dry, this creates a little bit more of like just a nice, smooth look and barrier if you have more dry skin. So good one. Quickly, while we're on the topic of powders, let me give a little shout out to the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Ethereal Light. This is like the white shade if you want something to add glow, a really subtle highlight, or even just as an all-over powder. It's an OG favorite. One thing that changed my makeup so immensely was wearing the right blush shades that actually flatter my skin. Once I stopped wearing like peachy warmer blushes, it was like a whole new world. I talk about blush a lot. I literally just did a best blush video. So I want to be brief with these because you've probably heard me talk about them before. But you know, I gotta keep talking about them because I love them. So the FLORASIS Candy Clouds, you know I love it. It's a pretty pastel pink. Had this on today. I like to put it really close to like my under eyes. It's so brightening if you have pale skin. It's such a gem. It's reminding me of the Han Cosmetics RIP baby pink blush that they used to have, but like even lighter, even more cool toned. If you want to see the swatch, I did just post my blush video. And then the RMS Bermuda Rose, of course, which is the prettiest cool tone pink. You know I love this one. It's a gem. And then this is a great one if you're looking for something brighter but still looks really natural. Tower 28, the Get Set blushes, which is a setting powder and blush in one, so they're very smooth, they're very matte. This is Malibu Cooler, which is a very bright baby pink, but on the skin it's so pretty, adds like nice brightness. She's beautiful. So I know I breezed through this category, but I'm gonna go ahead and link the blush video that I just posted if you want to see swatches or more in-depth information about my favorite cool toned pale skin blushes. Another little rogue guy I forgot to mention, but finding a powder that's actually brightening for your skin can be a huge game changer. For that reason, I love the One Size Turn Up the Base Powder Foundation in Stage White. This is a white powder, so even if you are looking for powders and you're like, I don't know, like things just are too dark, you might have to get a white powder and just use it in moderation. Another one I am wearing today, I like to do the sides of the nose, the highlight points, and it just truly brightens because it is white. These very white based products like the FLORASIS blush and this can be so helpful in actually enhancing your skin and feeling like you're getting that contour and highlight effect that like you see so many videos about, right? But they're using like champagne or very warm bronzers. This is the key for pale girl highlight and contouring. Also, random tip, if you have blonde brows and you feel like they pull warm or too strong, I put this in my eyebrows to tone down the color, and I don't know, it's just like a weird tip, but it works so good. Next, another crucial category, finding highlights that don't cast dark on pale skin. Really a game changer. The amount of like champagne, orangey gold, just bad highlighters out there for my skin, they're so abundant, and the good ones are less abundant, so they're harder to find. But I have my recommendations here. First, the Haus Labs Silver Highlight. This is the Moonstone Highlight. It's a silver highlight. It looks so pretty and like glossy. I also have this on my skin today. I'm wearing so many of these favorites. It just gives you like a unique, truly cool toned, non-dark glow. If you feel like you've tried so many highlights and you're like, I literally don't like any of them, and you haven't tried a silver, please try this one out. It's definitely more dramatic, but you can make it work and be more gingerly with it. It doesn't have thick shimmer in it either, which I love. It's a very metallic highlight, but it's not glittery. Now, if you're more of a cream highlighter person, I love the Westman Atelier. I know it's pricey, but the lit up highlighter stick, mine got like all mangled. I think I just smashed it in the top by accident, but this is like, it has a clear creamy base to it, but then it has the most beautiful purpley pink shift. It's very creamy and emollient, so it's going to give you that like glowy glow. If you don't like that, maybe stick with a powder. It's one of the most gorgeous creams, and even though it's pricey, I just feel like this shade is so worth it because it's one of the only like purpley pink highlights that I feel like isn't too like blue based, or it doesn't pull weird. You know, sometimes colored highlights can be a little bit obvious looking, but this is just, it's so gorgeous. I was wearing this in my previous video actually. Eyeshadow is definitely something that's a little easier to play around with, and there's a lot more options. So for me, just wearing more cool tones and very light tones have been so helpful. I can't believe like I didn't discover pastel eyeshadow until like relatively recently. It seems so weird, but from Flower Nose, this is their Incense Purple Haze palette. I've been absolutely loving this. This really pale pink, I've been using pale pinks as a transition shade, and it's like changed my world. They're so pretty. Love this other dusty purple, this one as a shadow liner, and then you get two really pretty shimmers. Just palettes like this that are super muted are so gorgeous if you are like lower contrast, pale skin. Gorgeous. I really like looking to C beauty companies for those very pastel, beautiful makeup palettes. I also love my Natasha Denona palettes. These are more expensive, but I use them absolutely every day. So let me talk about what I have here, which is my own custom combination of both of these palettes. So this is the I Need a Nude shell, but it has both the Xenon and the I Need a Nude shades. So almost all of these are from I Need the Nude besides these top three matte, and then these two here, and then the rest are from I Need a Nude. But even though the rest are from I Need a Nude, I literally use these Xenon ones probably the most. I do like having these taupes in more rosy tones and this pink, but yeah, they're just so beautiful. The formulas are amazing. I love this like glittery shade. I have the silver on the inner corner today. I knew I always wanted to try a Natasha Denona palette, but didn't feel called to them until these two palettes came out, and I'm so glad I tried them. So if you're curious what the leftovers are, which are in the Xenon shell, are sort of the more dramatics and this gray, but the rest of these are more of the like glittery shades that I just don't reach for on an everyday basis. It's more of a glam option. So those are the rest of them, but I do like using these deep blues for liners, still very versatile, and this pink shade too, so pretty. If you are curious, by the way, between just getting one of these, which one you would like better, I do have separate videos on both of them. I will make sure to link in the description so you can compare which one you think would be best for you. And I think I did 3 looks each in each of those videos, so 6 looks total with these palettes. Moving on to eyes, my number one tip is if you feel like your makeup looks too dramatic or harsh, stop wearing black eyeliner and black mascara and switch to just any other color you want, but just something that's softer. My favorite is brown. I love the Jones Road gel eyeliner in brown. Such an amazing gel formula. It doesn't smudge, it wears well, it's creamy and not like dry and thick like a lot of gel liners. Such a gem. This is new to me and it's just become an instant favorite. NYX also has a great brown liquid liner. I also saw they just came out with like a gray, which would be a really interesting option. You could also do burgundy, dark blue, just anything that's not true black essentially. So to go along with that, I like to do a non-black mascara. I really like the Firework mascara in brownish black, which is if you're like not sure you want to go fully into the brown, this is a very dark brown, but still offers such a nice softness. I love the Sky High in burgundy. It's what I have on today. It goes so well when you're wearing other fun pastel colors. If you want something that is more brown, the Sky High in brown is more of like a true brown. Really gorgeous. It's not too warm, and both of these formulas, they don't flake, they don't smudge. They're my go-tos. Love them. Moving on to lips, find yourself a good flattering lip combo. If you feel like your lip colors are pulling warm, these are my favorites and they really do change the look of your makeup so much. ColourPop Cool BFF lip liner. Do I even have to talk about this? You know it's my favorite. My perfect go-to My Lips But Better shade. Of course, I have it on today almost every day. I also really like the NYX Line Loud if you want something a little bit more pink. I'll do a swatch for this since I don't have it on. Hold on, I got a hair. So it's more of a pinky purple shade. This is like a liquid lipstick in lip liner form. It's pigmented, it sticks to your freaking lips and does not come off. So a little bit more long wearing. And then something that's like slightly more dramatic but doesn't pull too warm. The Jones Road lip liners, I really love these. Classic wooden pencil. This is the shade Rosewood, which is sort of just like this deeper brownish pink. If you've been wanting to try brown, but a lot of them are too warm, this is such a good one. Since we just mentioned the Jones Road Rosewood lip liner to go with that, I had this on my lips today. These are their lip tints. This is the shade Rose Mocha, which is the perfect duo with Rosewood. They had it as a lip kit for the holidays. I don't know if they still have it. I have this dabbed on my lips for sort of that more like grungy brown look. This has shimmer in it. It's like a rosy brown. It's so pretty. One of the most unique but flattering lip shades I have, and I really like these formulas. They're thin and they're not overly pigmented, so they make really good everyday lipsticks as well. If you do want nude lip combos, I have a full cool toned nude lip swatch guide. I also have other cool tone lip swatch guides if you want to dive deeper into it. But I want to mention the RMS Beauty Naomi. These are their legendary lipsticks. This is the nude collection. This seems dark, but really, especially if you blot it on, if you want something more like pink rosy mid-tone, these formulas are beautiful, by the way. They feel refreshing on the lips. It's so unique, but it gives you that nice juiciness with more of like a red hue versus like pinkish or purple. This would look good on just so many people. And you can, I clicked it. I forget you can't click it back down. You can build these up or sort of dab it on and make it more sheer, so it's really workable. And I do have a 20% off code with RMS, so don't you worry about paying full price for anything you want on their site. It'll be linked below. Something that's kind of similar to that lipstick vibe where it's like you can blend it out and have it be very sheer or more pigmented. Beauty Pie makes this unforgettable. It's like a tinted matte balm. Like, it's not very pigmented. It gives you this very, very, very blurred out kind of like beautiful soft effect on the skin. Like, it just looks really, really natural. If you don't like the look of lip products or the feel of lip products, this would be such a good one to just like wear every day. And then if you want some fun gloss recommendations, two drugstore options here. The E.L.F lip plumping gloss in the shade Sweet Talker. It's a really pretty pink with cool toned shimmer. I think it's really flattering pink for pale skin. If you want something a little bit more fun, the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Yummy Plumper. This is tingly and minty. I have it dabbed on today over top the Jones Road lipstick shade. This is the shade Pixie Dust. You get a ton of really fun glitters in there, but it doesn't feel gritty, and especially if you have pale cool tone skin, this one would be like really gorgeous. All right, those were all of my favorite products and tips for embracing your pale skin. Everything will be linked below so you can shop those products directly, all the shade names, all the good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and pop another one of my guides on the screen here. I always put a ton of work in these, and I'm so glad that you find them helpful. So if you haven't seen this one, then go ahead and we'll keep hanging out over there. See you there. Bye.